hold on tight. The champ is here. Mikey is raising the roof. He is loving it.
Let's be real for a second.
Let's be real. I'm excited to be real today. Mikey, we're now explain yourself.
I don't hate Russell Wilson.
Todd hates T.Y. Hilton. I know why he likes Nick Foles. Do you know why? Because he scored 55 points against them in the championship game last year.
Running backs in Andy Reid's system is just fantasy gold mine. Sign me up there, man.
Yeah, and he's passing for 1,000 too, because his offensive weapons are shit.
Maybe. Oh my God. I can't even believe this, Eric. Todd comes out with some outlandish shit.
Come on.
But that one wins the night.
You deserve the torture of watching those games if you get them.
There's a problem with all those names. None of those guys are good.
Exactly. That's my point. That is 100% my point.
Hey. All I'm saying. Hey, I'm a very unique individual. You know, that's the.
I'm sure all the owners think so.
Oh, man. Just when I think that they're out, they pull me back in.
Hello, MHA owners. Hope you're enjoying the NFL playoffs. Pittsburgh Steelers are out. The Cleveland Browns are moving on. NFL playoffs are a wild place. Fun, though. Eric Lansing, Mikey Renaud, Todd Diamond. What's up, fellas? You guys enjoying NFL playoffs when you get a chance?
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Love the fact the Steelers are out, and it's great. It's a different world. You know, the Browns actually look pretty good. The Browns actually playing good football, and the Steelers, are out. So it's great. I love it.
It's great. It's competitive. It's surprising. It's everything all at the same time.
Exactly. And it's, kind of brings you back to just with some of the, the teams that are kind of left in, that are left in the playoffs. And it brings you back to the, 90s NFL football. Because some of these teams, haven't been in the playoffs since the 90s. At least the Buffalo Bills and the Cleveland Browns. So kind of brings you back a little bit, back to the good old days of football. I don't know if that's...
agree. And also, it's different when you don't have a horse in the race, though. Man, there's just something about, like, when your team's in the playoffs, you just have that different juice and that feeling. And the Broncos haven't experienced it in a little bit.
Bold prediction. Taylor Henneke gets drafted in our league next year.
Oh.
That guy's performance.
Yeah, let's put it this way. That touchdown where he leaped into the end zone should get him a job, anyway. So good him on that one. But yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, he knew he was playing for a job. That's what he was doing. That was really cool to see. All right, so what could we be possibly talk about on today's show? Well, some people may like this, some people may not. But we're going to go kind of way back early on in the season and throughout the season as well and talk about predictions and things that we said and things that we said that were correct and some things that went horribly wrong. And we'll take a look at our board bets, see who won those, and see who won the most MHA trivia games. So let's see. Let's get right to where we were right on our predictions, where we went wrong. I think, Mikey, did you listen to any of the shows? Todd, did you listen back on any shows to kind of get a refresher on some of the things we said throughout the season?
I gotta listen to like the ranking show, but the rank like where I had some quarterbacks ranked, but no.
So no, you didn't do your homework.
No, what a shocker! I mean, I listened to the quarterback. I listened to all the ranking shows. Because because I thought that's where I was right, where I was going to be right or wrong.
Mikey?
So I didn't listen to any of the in-season shows, but I listened to all the ones prior to the season started. So I listened to about 5 of them.
Okay, cool. I mean, that's deep. It's better than Todd anyway. So
I listened to all the ranking shows.
Sure you did. With that being said, that leads us into some MHA trivia.
All right, Brain. You don't like me and I don't like you. But let's just do this and I can get back to killing you with beer. It's a deal.
Yeah, you guys thought it was over, and it will count towards your tally.
Cool.
This should be fun. It's a quick trivia question, but how many shows did we do this season? Just guess a number, and whoever's closest gets a point.
But is this including like the ranking shows or just?
This goes all the way back to June.
All the way back to June. I'll say 18 shows.
Okay, Mikey, what you got?
I'm gonna say 23.
Oh, Mikey, you're so close. 22. We did 22 shows this year. Yeah, we did a bunch. We did like 5 before the season, and then we did every season or every week. So we did a show every week this year for the first time, and that was kind of fun to go through and listen in. It was taxing though. I listened to all 22 shows. Some of it I listened on fast forward by a little bit, but I was trying to catch as much as I could. So that's a lot of shows. And
Well, I was counting today's show.
oh really? Oh really? Is that what it is?
Oh wow. Technicality. Technicality.
That was a good save. You get the point anyway, but that was a good save. All right, so kind of speaking with MHA trivia, kind of adding to that, we'll ask another MHA trivia question. Does of the week. Who do you guys think won the most does of the week this year? And this will count towards the tally.
Miles?
Okay.
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna say it was Miles.
Okay, so you're both right. He did have the most, but how many did he have?
4.
Hilton had a lot of bad weeks.
Todd said 4, Mikey. And if you want to say 4, that's fine. Then we'll just I'll pick another question regarding the does.
I'll say 5.
Oh, I'm sorry, Todd got it. He only actually had 3. Alan had 1. Eaton W's had 2. Todd had 1. We mentioned bye week with 3. I had 1. Line Rip had 1. CUP had 1. Gonzo Cats had 1. And yeah, Mikey did not have one this year. But I guess when you're getting blown out every week, it's hard to get those.
That's right.
All right. So Todd wins that point. So then that'll lead us to who won the most MHA trivia games this year?
I'm gonna say Todd's usually terrible at these things.
Yeah, I mean that's probably an easy question. So yeah, I'll say Mikey probably won the most.
Okay, so including the 2 games we had today,
Yeah.
there have been 15 MHA trivia questions, or yeah, and so what was the final tally? Like how many wins did Mikey have? How many losses that Todd had?
I'll say Mikey probably had, I don't know, 10 wins.
It's a little closer than that. I'm gonna say 9-6.
It was actually Mikey 11 wins, Todd 3 wins, and you guys had a tie. 11-3 and 1 in favor of Mikey.
I was trying to be nice.
Thanks, Mikey.
All right, so there you go. Even with those 2 today, Todd did get 1 point today.
Woo!
Mikey had 11 wins on the season. Good job, Miguel. All right, so let's get into this. We'll kind of start with where we went right. Now, I have a list, and we obviously say a lot of crap during the preseason shows and even during the regular season. But I'll just, if you guys have something on your mind that you want to say that's right, I'll let you guys kind of go first. If you want me to go through the list, I'll go through the list. What do you guys want to do?
I mean, I got one right. I got one. The one I want to say right off the bat, and one on my team, I was right about. But I'll just say, and maybe you have this on your list too. But for one of my rights, because I mean, again, it was kind of not a risky pick, but my first, Aaron Jones finished 5th in our league. Now I told he was going to say he was going to win. He was going to score 16 touchdowns again, or even more. He scored 9. I mean, obviously that's nothing to spit about, but I think I was right on Aaron Jones. I mean, I obviously just knowing the fact that I thought he was going to be a bigger part because they didn't help Aaron Rodgers out, and obviously he decided to throw the ball more to Devontae Adams, but still finishing 5th in our league, for the 7th overall pick. I think still no. I mean, the touchdown totals. I mean, he still rushed for 1,000 yards. I mean, and he had 47 catches. So I think I was really right on Aaron Jones, where I picked him and what he did. I mean, finishing 5th, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So that one I was right about. So
I'll give you half credit because you actually said 22 total touchdowns and he had like
is
half
correct.
that.
Yep.
11 total. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had 2 receiving touchdowns. Okay. All right. So that's So
Way off.
that's yeah.
You were right.
But
And you were right in terms of you had him preseason ranked 5th.
5th.
And he
Yeah.
finished 5th. So you get credit for that. But the numbers you
Okay.
threw out there were not even close.
Did he rush for 1,000 yards?
You said he was going to have 22 total touchdowns. How many did he have? 11 or 10?
11, yeah. 11
All right.
total touchdowns, yeah.
Way off.
Yeah.
Mikey,
But,
what you got?
Well, I mean, if you want to go through the list, that's fine because I wrote down like everything I thought I heard. So
All right. Well, we'll just go through this. And then I kind of went through, I'll just go through. All right. Things that went right. The first thing I have up here is I was right about Derek Carr being a sleeper, high completion guy. He ended up finishing 15th, so outside the top 12. But for a guy that was going outside the top 20 in terms of being drafted, he produced pretty well. Todd had Kyler Murray as a top 5 guy. I asked the question, could Kyler Murray be a top 5 guy? And Todd was one of those guys that was on board with that. Mikey, right on Dalvin Cook, finishing 2nd. I think I said something like a guy that who was the number 2 overall running back, and Mikey was right on that, even though it wasn't Christian McCaffrey that finished 1st. But he was high on Dalvin Cook, so that was a good job on Mikey there. Todd was higher on Josh Allen than us, than myself and Mikey. And that's definitely not a surprise considering he wasn't a big completion guy in his first couple of years. And then this year, obviously finishing in the top 3, I believe. I'll have to try to. But yeah, so.
He was, but I got a problem with that just going back and into the shows because of his reasoning. So part of the reason he was high on Josh Allen was the correct reason. He said was because Stephon Diggs was going there. He liked that move. But then later on, he talked about how one of his bust wide receivers was going to be Stephon Diggs. So I was really confused.
Well, some people don't look into their stuff as closely as they should. Josh Allen actually finished 2nd in our league, 19 points behind Patrick Mahomes. So is there reasoning for that, Todd, or?
I mean, I think one of the
figure that Cole Beasley was just going to get all the run and Stephon Diggs wasn't.
Well, I was more thinking about it because Stephon Diggs was going from a dome to outside in cold Buffalo, and I was still a little concerned. I was high on Josh Allen. Was he going to really turn a corner? And Stephon Diggs kind of. I guess he proved to everybody, hey, I can be an elite wide receiver, and obviously he was this year. He blew that out the water like nobody's business. So, I was kind of waiting and seeing, with Stephon Diggs, and obviously he proved me wrong. So, I thought him going to Buffalo was going to help him, but I didn't think he was going to do what he did this year anyway, leading the league in receptions and everything like that and putting up the numbers he did. So yeah, I contradicted myself to some degree because I was waiting to see, I mean, I didn't think he was going to be a total bust, but I didn't think he was going to be like what he was this year. So I contradicted myself, kind of waiting to see what he did. And he, and he definitely proved it. So next year for sure, when we talk about in other shows, he'll be a top 10 wide receiver. I'll say that.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talk about Todd contradicting himself a little bit. Going back to with the Stephon Diggs, I asked amongst these 3 wide receivers between Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, and Brandon Cooks, who was the best offseason move? And Todd said Stephon Diggs. So
Right, which
he's a week to week guy.
'cause-
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys were higher on Brady than I was, so both you guys were higher than me on that. I wasn't on board with the Chris Godwin. We all were really close on the Mike Evans love. Todd had a Mike Evans preseason rank of 7th. Mikey 11th. I had him 11th. He ended up finishing 10th. So we were all kind of right on board there with Mike Evans, but you guys were definitely much more excited. And Tom Brady ended up having a decent season. I think he ended up finishing 6th in our league in points. And so I was wrong on that. I thought he would fall apart, and he had his moments where he didn't look great. But it was just like a game here or there, and then he'd come back and have a spectacular game right after that. So good old Tom Brady. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Excuse me, he was 7th, really close to 6th. Can we say I was right about Will Fuller? Mikey?
In a way, I think you were right about Will Fuller, but in a way, I think I was right about Will Fuller. So we should get a point for that.
You should get a
Yeah,
point. Well, I'm
you
not
both-
tallying points.
What did I
right
say?
and wrong.
I think I said he would play half the season. I think that was pretty, accurate.
Yeah.
True, but you
But-
also had him ranked outside of your top 60, and he finished 29th. So yeah, we're split. I just it's a fun one to talk about just because of how good of a season. Like he's finished 29th despite missing the last 5 games of the season. But again, he didn't finish the season, and he didn't have a normal all the way through season. Good old Will Fuller. There's some good Will Fuller quotes that I may use for the intro next year. Let's keep going here. Todd, where he was right, he was higher on Adam Thielen than the rest of us. Said he was going to be the main guy, get close to 10 touchdowns. Obviously, he had more than that. He ended up having 14. So good job, Todd.
Yeah, and again, and obviously this was before Justin Jefferson, kind of came into the mix too, and how good obviously he did. But yeah, Adam Thielen was going to be the guy. Stephon Diggs, gone, so Kirk Cousins had to throw the ball to somebody, and Adam Thielen was kind of his safety blanket for sure. And obviously, then once Justin Jefferson, then it kind of split a little bit. But yeah, Adam Thielen for sure, another wide receiver for next year. Again, it's going to be, it's people in our league are going to try to draft high. So again, it's the eye test, what Aaron likes to say.
To the tight end position, I asked if Travis Kelce was going to be the number 1 tight end in the league. Todd and myself both said yes. Now I'm not going to knock Mikey for not saying that Travis Kelce because George Kittle went down with an injury. However, Todd and I were right in that regard.
You should knock me for that. That was dumb of me to say.
I don't know if I want to say that you were dumb, and I don't want to kiss your butt on it either. But I mean, George Kittle, when he played, was good. I don't want to use injury as an excuse unless this person like Will Fuller, who's had a history of it.
Yeah, but
Because when you
he's
saw
been
him
good for
out
so
there,
long.
he was incredible. I mean, there was the game where he had like 17 targets and 15 catches. Like that is amazing stuff. Even if he doesn't do that every game, like I feel like you were right on the fact that he is a top level tight end and can compete with Kelce. But just at the end of the day, he got hurt and Kelce didn't, and Kelce put up the number 1 numbers. Here's that fun one I was talking about, and this was between Todd and Mikey. Now, Todd said New Orleans would run the ball more this year than previous years, where Mikey said they would pass more. Anybody want to guess on who was right on this?
I think Todd is right because
Yeah.
Breeze getting hurt. Taysom Hill, the whole thing, they probably had to run it more.
Yeah,
They did. Todd was right. 405 rush attempts. Excuse me. 405 rush attempts in 2019. They had 494 this year. 581 pass attempts last year. 522 this year.
Woo.
Nice going, Todd.
Awesome. Well, again, if anything, I got to thank the football gods for taking Drew Brees out for a little bit. Because if Drew Brees didn't get hurt, I don't think that number wouldn't be I think Mikey would have won that.
I don't
side
know.
of that.
Those were pretty significant. It wasn't like by 20 or 30. I mean, that was close to 70 attempt difference.
Yeah, but he was out like 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a small portion of the season. Now,
And
the idea, I guess, would be by point per game. I guess it would be the better indicator.
and that game that joke of a game that they played against the Broncos here, like I don't even know if they had to pass.
That is true. One area I was right in, Lamar Jackson bust. We talked about the numbers he put up, and I didn't think he was going to put up those big numbers. Was he going to throw 36 touchdowns again? He did not. However, he did run for 1,000 yards again, which is the first quarterback ever to do that. He did not finish anywhere. I mean, he went as the number 1 quarterback overall, and that obviously did not happen. He ended up finishing 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18th out of a quarterbacks, and so that's well past the top 12 in starting quarterback territory. So that was one area where I didn't think he was going to regress that much, but I knew his numbers were just too good to be true.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let's try to find one for Mikey here. Mikey was very high on Calvin Ridley. He had him ranked 7th going into the season. I asked if he was a top 10 guy. Mikey said yes, and ended up finishing 5th overall. Mikey thought they would have to throw. No Hooper, no Sanu, and even the days that Julio Jones was out, he still had really good numbers. So Mikey right on the Calvin Ridley train. Another one where Mikey was right. How about T.Y. Hilton? Mikey says, I do not like him. He had him as a preseason ranking of 41. Mikey said he's done at 31 years old. I don't even expect Rivers to finish the season, which he was wrong about. But Hilton ended up finishing 44th, so he was pretty close on that.
Yeah, you thought I was crazy.
I did think you were crazy. And he kind of picked up some steam late, and that was to get him 44th.
I'll rank him lower than that next year.
I'm sure he will. Another one where Todd was right, in a big way, mind you, was Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
The question was kind of thrown out, Rodgers or Big Ben. And Mike and I both said Big Ben with a lot of trepidation about Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers had a phenomenal season. He ended up finishing 3rd overall. He's an MVP candidate. He led the league in touchdown passes with 44, just 5 picks. Also had 3 rushing touchdowns. Todd.
We all saw this when we were watching the draft. When the Packers did not draft one single wide receiver to help them, and you're thinking, oh, Aaron Rodgers is going to say, trade me. And he just went out and balled out like nobody's business. So,
Todd, I wouldn't get into Drew Lock just yet. I'm sure Eric's going there at some point.
And are we totally surprised that Aaron Rodgers is capable of doing that regardless if he has more weapons? I mean, we can't be totally shocked and awed.
Look, and I don't want to speak for Eric here, but I don't think either one of us were surprised that he was capable of doing what he did. I think both of us were looking at what happened the previous year and the success that the team had because they went more run heavy, more defensive.
Okay.
This was your chance to gloat, Todd, because you were the point that you made that, you know, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers giving a middle finger to everybody and having a chip on his shoulder. You were 100% right about that. So, yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Here's just a couple of things, and if you want to say something that I didn't mention that we were right about, go ahead. So here's some last ones. Mikey, when I asked if Derrick Henry should be a first-round running back, he said yes. I said yes. We kind of agreed on the same things there. I was high on Josh Jacobs, said he could reach 8 to 10 touchdowns. He had 10 touchdowns. I was a big DeAndre Swift guy. I didn't draft him, but I ended up going to trade for him. Swift ended up finishing 21st, despite all those Adrian Peterson stolen touchdowns. He was a game winner at the late stages of the season. I'll save this one for the bold predictions, but that's what I got right. That's what I have under the where we went right category. Mikey, did you have any others that you wanted to talk about?
Well, I was definitely right about Cam Newton and Julian Edelman.
Well, you were right in the fact that he did not finish. He did not finish as a top 12 guy. I think that's what the question I asked about. So that is correct. But you were wrong in the fact that you didn't think he would win the starting job. So I was going to put that on the split. But yeah, anything else? What else you got? What else you got, Mike? Anything in the right category?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that Clyde Edwards-Helaire would have growing pains, and I didn't think he was a first-round pick.
Yep.
Yep,
Keep going.
Sure
I just tried to take the most significant ones out of the because I wrote just like you, I wrote down everything. But I just took out more significant ones that were more better talking points.
You know, one for Todd that he had right was he hated James Conner.
Yep. He was right about that one. I hate him too now.
Yeah. So
didn't hate him before, but yeah, yep, for sure.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and then the last one for me.
Yeah.
I think I was right about Jared Goff and Matt Stafford. You know, I didn't really like either one, said I didn't trust them, kind of hated them. And they both kind of sucked, so.
Yeah, they both finished outside the top 12. They were pretty close to one another. Goff finished, looks like 13th, and Stafford 16th. So outside the top 12. Yeah. Well, let's go to the where we went wrong, and that might bring up some more fun conversations. But
I think so. This is going to be brutal.
Obviously, Mikey and I were wrong about Aaron Rodgers, but we talked about that. I asked Mikey if Kyler Murray would finish as a top 5 QB. He did not like that, and he ended up finishing 3rd overall. Let's talk about the Broncos. Hooray! Drew Lock was a sleeper of Todd. Thought he would finish inside the top 10. That didn't happen.
That was that's my love for the Broncos, sometimes have to separate that sometimes. Blinding, exactly. And yes,
your mind.
Yeah, I think you said 35 touchdowns, Todd.
Yeah, that's 35. Not something close to that. That's for sure.
I mean, what you guys said, what both you guys said was the Broncos are a legit elite NFL offense.
I said they had the pieces.
Oh, here we go. Here's the backpedaling.
I just want to make sure that my listeners understand. I said they have the pieces.
Mikey, just say you were wrong.
Yes, I got the pieces.
Yeah, Mikey, just say you were wrong. Okay, I say it all the time. It's not that bad. Just say you were
sticking
wrong.
with the Broncos. Well, no, that was part of the board bet. We'll talk about Jerry G and that in a minute, but. Yeah, the Broncos, another Bronco one. Mikey said Melvin Gordon would get hurt during this year. He played all but one game. So good for Melvin Gordon. Finished as a top 15 guy, I believe.
Well, I mean, he kind of got hurt. His pocketbook got hurt and court fees for DUIs.
I got hurt, yeah.
Finished 15th overall, had 9 total touchdowns. Pretty good season for Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
All right. I asked Todd if Derrick Henry was a first-round pick. No. Titans offense will regress. We'll have to throw more, and Derrick Henry's numbers will regress. Derrick Henry finished 3rd overall.
And rushed for 2,000 yards. Yep. I don't know. Hey, running. Let's face it. Running backs, regardless of reality and fantasy, sometimes do regress. I mean, I didn't think he was gonna. He had a great season last year, but I didn't think he was gonna rush for 2,000 yards.
So disappointing, Todd.
Yeah,
drafted in the first round next year, or is he a first-round pick?
Is he a first? Well, he's probably, yeah.
Probably.
He is. Probably.
Some people just don't learn their lesson.
I know. Well, hey, we just have to rush for 3,000 yards to finally tell me, yeah, you might want to draft me. Okay.
We gave a lot of crap to Todd on that one, but here's something Todd can get Mikey and myself on. We vehemently told Todd that Cooper Kupp was a better fantasy wide receiver than Robert Woods. And Robert Woods ended up with 192 points. Cup just 159 points.
I love Robert Woods. More versatile. You can get him the ball in different ways. So yeah.
That was a tough one to swallow.
Okay. Even though it is ironic that both of you swapped Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods after draft day, so that on draft day, that's kind of ironic
So I
too.
was double wrong.
Yeah, so you were double wrong. You traded away the wrong players.
Mikey kind of redeemed himself a little bit by trading him away for Woods, but
Yeah.
that whole offense, they ran a lot more this year. Goff was not as good. Their reception totals were okay. I mean, they both still finished in the top 22, but it's just the touchdowns regressed so much, especially for Kupp. Like, it made such a huge difference. I mean, Kupp, he made a lot of his money on touchdown. I think he had 10 last year. He only had 3. And Woods ended up having 6 receiving. He ended up having 2 running as well. So they're like normal. I mean, Kupp had 92 receptions. Woods had 86. Neither really eclipsed 1,000 yards. But, man, those touchdowns did not go to them at all. So that was really tough. What else we got here? Let's talk about Todd's love for David Johnson. He had him a preseason rank of 15th overall. He ended up finishing 25th. Todd was like, he wants to prove everyone wrong. He wants to prove he's back. And while I don't think he had the worst season, he didn't live up to your expectations.
Yes,
yeah,
and
he wasn't old David Johnson. He was old David Johnson. I was all over that. I said he was fat and slow, I think, numerous times.
Yeah. I think going that last game at least proved a little bit, just a small percentage. Like, hey, he's, I'm not saying he's not back, Mikey. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
like he's building momentum towards next year. Here we go.
Well, the thing is, just hand him the rock. Oh, dear Lord, just hand him the ball.
Todd, he's old. He can only take so many handoffs.
I understand, but he's still at least more.
I don't think you understand. You don't understand. But one area Mikey was wrong. I asked if Philip Rivers could be a top 15 guy. Mikey said, absolutely not. And Philip Rivers finished 14th.
Maybe.
Played every game this year.
He's probably going to retire now and go be a high school coach.
I'll take the L on that one.
All right. See, Mikey, it's not so hard. See?
Oh, goodness gracious. Here's something Eric was really wrong about. Terry McLaurin. I had him as a bust pick. He ended up finishing 24th. I said I thought it would be ridiculous that the experts had him so high as a top 20 guy. And, man, he balled out pretty much every week. Despite the ridiculous quarterbacks that he had. He finished 24th, 80 catches. His touchdowns are not surprising on a bad team, but still have 80 catches and 1,000 yards. I had him as a bust pick, and he surprised me a little bit. I only have really one more. Well, I have 2. I mean, Mikey said I don't dig the Colts whatsoever this year. I asked him about like Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor, and he just wasn't having it. But we kind of talked about with Philip Rivers too. The last thing that I have, and you guys can chime in too. Mikey was a big DJ Moore fan. He ended up finishing 28th amongst wide receivers, 66 receptions. He did have over 1,000 yards, almost 1,200 yards, but just 4 touchdowns. He missed a game. I know Mikey was a little higher on Teddy Bridgewater than the rest of us. What Mikey says, he kind of looks like Michael Thomas. You want to say anything, Miguel, about your love for DJ Moore?
Yeah, he looked better than Michael Thomas this year.
Touche.
So yeah, I mean, no, I take the L on that. He wasn't a bad receiver by any means this year, but he wasn't what I thought. So
yeah, he was one of the guys I had kind of lumped in with Chris Godwin, just because. And I started to learn my lesson in terms of the running backs. They all had really good 1 year. Like I drafted Kenyon Drake and Miles Sanders. They all had one good year. Same thing with Godwin and DJ Moore. And Godwin did pretty well, but yeah, DJ Moore did not. Anything else that you guys had about where we went wrong?
Yeah, I called Antonio Gibson hot garbage, so I would like to apologize for that.
I missed that one.
Hot garbage.
Yeah, that was definitely wrong. He had a really good season. Another really good guy on the Washington football team.
I guess the other one, I was really high on Miles Sanders, and that, I mean, I mean, granted, that whole Eagles offense was straight garbage anyway, but because I had Miles Sanders 7th in my rankings.
Mike, he was high on AJ Green.
Oh yeah, that's probably the worst of them all.
I'm not predicting injuries into this thing. AJ Green didn't miss a game and finished 66th with 85 points.
Wow, he still finished that high? I figured he would be like
like 8.
He's terrible.
He still had 85 points because he played every game, so he picked up some stats. But Todd and I, obviously, Mike, you kind of mentioned it. We were not really smart with the T.Y. Hilton. I had him finishing 22nd, Todd 25th. We kind of mentioned where he finished. But yeah, those are some of the more egregious ones, I guess. I didn't really put Keenan Allen in there just because none of us liked Tyrod Taylor, and we were right about that. We all just said if Justin Herbert can get in there, he would do well, and that's ended up what happening. I wasn't too harsh on the Keenan Allen preseason hate. Let's go through some bold predictions. Now, remember, these are bold predictions. These are things that we just kind of thought, well, could happen. They're very outside-ish. But that's kind of where Todd was talking about. He had him as a top 10 tight end. And I don't know. I don't have it written down where he finished, but I will check right now. And he ended up finishing, looks like pretty close, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He ended up finishing 10th with 114 points. I don't know if that was bold, considering the landscape of tight ends, but there you go. I said something like, I bet Gronk gets drafted as a top 10 tight end in their draft. He ended up being the 8th tight end to go off the board. Something Mikey said, Philip Lindsay would finish with more points for amongst the running backs on the Broncos, and Melvin Gordon finished with 170 points in 14 games, 15th overall, where Philip Lindsay had 64 points in 11 games. Mikey kind of said Lindsay would come with a chip on his shoulder, going for that next contract, and had moments, but just never consistent, and he was beat up for a lot of the year too.
Stubbed his toe.
Damn it.
One thing that also mentioned as one of my sleeper guys, but a bold prediction in the same kind of case, DK Metcalf finishes as a top 10 wide receiver. He ended up finishing 6th and ended up finishing higher than Lockett. So that's one of the ones I feel good about. I wish I would have drafted him, but that just didn't happen.
Yeah, you should. That was an awesome prediction.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
We talked about this a little, but I'll just reiterate. Drew Lock will finish as a top 5 quarterback, and he finished 25th. Todd's already mentioned he feels sorry and feels bad about that. One that we had as a bold prediction, but I'm not going to count it because Joe Burrow got hurt. But Mikey said that Burrow would finish as a top 10 guy, that he would have 4,000 yards and 25 touchdowns. He got hurt, and he was playing pretty well.
Yeah, he was a top 10 guy when he got hurt. He was on pace.
Yeah, that Cincinnati offense really opened up once he got in there. So I'm not going to knock him for it. Here's one you can knock me for. Now, it's a bold prediction, but I said Tevin Coleman would finish as a top 20 running back. He ended up finishing 124th.
You just have a soft, for whatever reason, I've never understood it, because every single year I've badmouthed him, but you have a soft spot for Tevin Coleman for some reason.
I have no idea why.
Yeah.
I always felt like he was like the backseat driver in Atlanta if he just got his chance. And he's had moments of brilliance, but I didn't see any brilliance this year. He was hurt a lot, but all right, here's the board bet going on here. I'll start with one that we kind of picked up in the middle of the season, but which Tampa receiver would have the most points from week 9 on? Now, Mikey chose Gronk. I chose Mike Evans, and Todd chose Chris Godwin. Now, I have the numbers. I don't know if you guys did the numbers, but if you didn't do the numbers, who was right?
Mike Evans.
Yeah, I'm going to say it was Evans.
Correct. Eric is brilliant. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Evans finished with 99 points. Godwin was second with 71, and Gronk with 55.
Still pretty good for all three of those guys. That's pretty good.
All right. One that it's hard to gauge because Zach Ertz got hurt. But Mikey said Zach Ertz would finish ahead of Kelsey in points. Todd and I said no, that wouldn't happen. Now that didn't happen, but Zach Ertz was hurt for a majority of the season. Sorry, Miguel.
I don't know if he finished with more points than Kelsey had in his last game.
Yeah, that's something I'm gonna have time to look for. But you're probably right on that. Zach Ertz had a putrid season, and we talked about that on the awards. He was definitely in the bust category. Here's one for Todd. Aaron Jones would score more touchdowns than Christian McCaffrey. Mike and I said absolutely not. And you're not going to get credit for this, even though McCaffrey got hurt. You want to know why, Todd?
Because McCaffrey still had more touchdowns than Aaron Jones.
No, that is not true. However, Jones ended up with 11 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey had 6. So if he would have played 4 more games, he would have beaten him. So you don't win that one at all.
At all?
For that one. Despite the injury. That's how good Christian McCaffrey. He had 6 in 3 games. And Jones had 11 in 15. All right, we'll continue. But Todd's giving me this blank stare. Like he wants me to give him the point. I'm sorry, you're not getting that point.
Dang it.
Especially considering you were saying Jones was going to have 22. Here's one that I started the board bet. This kind of goes back to the Mikey saying that 2 Broncos wide receivers would finish inside the top 22. I said they wouldn't have 1 in the top 22. You guys want to guess where the Bronco wide receivers finished amongst their finishing position? So where did Tim Patrick finish? Where did Judy finish? Where did Hamler finish?
So I'll say Tim Patrick probably finished like somewhere in the 50 to 60 range.
Yeah.
Judy probably like
I'd say 80 to range.
Judy, I'll say 60 to 70 range. And Hamler 90 to 100.
Go ahead.
So Patrick finished the highest out of all of them. Say that.
So that's all you're gonna say, Todd?
25. Yeah. So I'll say Patrick finished in the 50s. And I'll say Judy finished in the 70s, and Hamler finished in the 90s.
All right, so no Bronco finished in the top 22. Tim Patrick finished 40th. Jerry Judy finished 58th, and Hamler finished 80th. Wah, wah.
Yeah, and to give full disclosure, Patrick and Hamler don't even play a part in this because I wasn't expecting either of those to be the 2. So if I'm going to take my L on this, I'm going to take my L.
Because Cortland Sutton was the gentleman he was hoping would finish with Judy inside the 2 in the top 22, and then Cortland Sutton got hurt.
Yeah, because I had Sutton ranked 9th in my rankings. That's how high I had him and thought expectations, and gets hurt during freaking practice. We talking about practice.
All right. And the last one that I had, I don't know if I missed anything, and you guys can tell me if I missed anything, but the last board bet we had was what Aaron Rodgers won't finish as a top 12 quarterback. Todd says he will. I don't think Mikey was involved with this one. I think it was just me and Todd. I said he wouldn't. Todd said he would. And Rodgers finished as a number 3 overall quarterback.
Bang.
So, based on the points, I'm just doing this right off the bat. Todd has 2 points. Mm-hmm. Mikey has 1, and I have 4. So there you go. I didn't win a championship, but I got the most board bets correct. So there you go. I think that's the show.
Yeah, that's a good.
I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to say. I mean, it was tough to go through 22 shows. And I bet you this will be the lowest show people listen to because maybe they're tuned out. They don't care about what we have to say. But I mean, it was fun for me to go through and listen in. One thing I will say is I had a blast listening to the 8th episode podcast. There was so much going on in that week 8 podcast. I think we were at home for that podcast. I think there was a lot of Will Fuller talk on that episode. The T.Y. Hilton, where Mikey was just complaining so much to Miles, and that's the episode that he won the Doe of the Week for that. And Mikey's like, I'm tired of going on this show every week. And it was just something like that was just so funny. So if you haven't listened to the week 8 episode, I wish I had the notes in front of me. I had them at one point. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so we had some MHA trivia that Todd actually won. That's where we came up with the board bet with the Tampa wide receivers. The Doe of the Year is what Mikey called it. And yeah, so there was a lot of funny stuff. I found myself like laughing all the way through it. That might have been the best episode of the year. So, but yeah, I mean, it was fun to do it every week. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that was great. I mean, just like, just like on ESPN, when they probably do more podcasts than we probably do.
Well, they get paid to do it, so.
True, that's true. But no, I like doing it. I like doing it every week.
Yeah, I mean, I had fun doing it every week. It's just nice to, get together, talk football, kind of see what's in everybody's heads. And, you always know you're going to get something from Todd that makes you go, huh? So
that's right.
For sure. And I think not only did I think it engage our owners a little bit more, because we had a lot more people like watching and tuning in or listening on YouTube, whatever we want to call it. To get it consistently, I think helped. We kind of had a format, which I think helped. And so I think just having that, and I hope we have more owners on as we go on. We have busy lives, so I'm not expecting the owners to be there all the time, but every once in a while would be great. But I mean, it's fun. And I'm trying to find the fun in it. Obviously, there's moments where I get so frustrated with football that I just don't want to do it anymore. But I'm trying to find the fun, and I think this what brings the fun to the table. So that's what that's a big goal of mine next year is that, I want them to try and I want to play hard and win because that's the funnest part about anything. But I just got to find the fun in it again. And I think this really helped out with that. So, all right, gentlemen. Well, thanks for coming on and talking about, good stuff about where we were right and bad stuff where we, took it on the chest or took it in the chin. It's probably the right way to put that. But thanks for coming on, and I'm sure I'll talk to you guys soon.
I said through COVID and all.
Yeah, we made it through. There was a point in time we didn't think we would, and we got through COVID. We have a new champion, and we'll head into the off season and get ready for year 20. And hopefully we can do something exciting for year 20, have everybody in, and we'll wait and see. So for Todd Diamond, Mikey Renault, I'm Eric Lansing. We'll see you next time on the MHA podcast.